A good day to you, our dear panelists. We are Group 1 and we are here to present our research study entitled
Firm performance
Firm risk
and board gender diversity
among
among the
the
Philippine
Philippine
publicly
publicly
listed
listed
companies.
companies.
Good day, esteemed panel. To frame our study, in the 2023 Global Gender Gap Index, the Philippines ranked 16th globally and first in Asia. Yet, the boards of our largest public companies remain predominantly male. This contrast led us to a focused question. Do female directors meaningfully affect firm performance and firm risk in the Philippine context? We situate this in Philippine policy. The SAC encourages listed firms to adopt board diversity policies, and the Magna Carta of Women advances gender responsive governance. Our study provides local, data driven evidence to inform those efforts by testing whether board gender diversity relates to firm performance and risk among PSE listed firms. What sets our work apart is scope and balance. Using data from 2013 to 2023, we look at the full picture, performance, both accounting and market, and risk rather than just one metric.
Moving on to the statement of the problem. Our study aims to determine the relationship between board gender diversity, firm performance, and firm risk among the Philippine publicly listed companies from 2013 to 2023. Specifically, our research aims to answer three main questions. First, what is the profile of the variables used in our study? We have two dependent variables. The first is firm performance, measured through both accounting-based indicators, which are the return on assets, return on equity, and basic earning power, as well as a market-based measure, the Tobin skew. The second dependent variable is firm risk, measured through both asset return volatility and the Z-score. Board gender diversity is our independent variable measured with a percentage of women on board, a dummy variable representing the presence of at least a woman on board, and two diversity indices, the Shannon and Blau indices. Three control variables are also included, which are the firm size, board size, and leverage. Second, what is the relationship between these variables among Philippine publicly listed firms? And lastly, based on our findings, what theoretical and practical implications can be drawn to guide both future research and corporate decision making?
To better understand our study, let us first take a look into the existing literature that will explore this area of research. For firm performance, studies like Kilik and Kuzi use accounting-based measures such as return on assets and return on equity, showing that firms with more women on boards tend to perform better financially. Safula also find a positive relationship between board gender diversity and profitability, as female directors are seen as more ethical and effective monitors. Meanwhile, market-based measures like Tobin skew capture investors' perceptions, but results remain inconsistent due to differences in context and measurement. In terms of firm risk, research by Satar and Facio found that greater female representation reduces risk taking and earnings volatility, as women are generally more risk averse. However, studies like SILA found no significant effect, showing that findings may vary across countries and industries. Regarding measures of gender diversity, most studies use the percentage or presence of women on boards, but Unite noted that these are limited. Hence, newer studies use Shannon and Blau indices, which better capture the balance between men and women. Given these inconsistencies and the lack of research in emerging economies like the Philippines, our study fills a gap by examining how board gender diversity affects firm performance and firm risk among the Philippine publicly listed companies from 2013 to 2023.
Picking up with the methodology, let me briefly walk you through who we studied and how we built the dataset. Our sample consists of 78 publicly listed firms observed from 2013 to 2023, for a total of 836 firm year observations. We sourced financials from Refinitiv and then manually collected board composition details, specifically how many directors were women from general information sheets. This hand collection was necessary because local board data are often incomplete in standard databases, and doing it ourselves ensured accuracy and coverage. With the data set prepared, we proceed to the empirical test.
To ensure the accuracy and reliability of our results, several statistical treatments were applied to our dataset. First, we Winsorized the data at the 1% level to minimize the effect of extreme outliers that could distort the analysis. Next, we used the principal component analysis, or the PCA, to develop a singular composite gender diversity index. Through PCA, we were able to combine multiple measures of gender diversity, specifically the proportion of women, P women, the dummy variable for women directors, D women, as well as the Shannon and Blau diversity indices into a single variable named gender diversity. This helped us capture the overall representation and heterogeneity of women on corporate boards while addressing issues of multicollinearity among these indicators. We then conducted the Hausman specification test to determine which panel regression model was more appropriate, the fixed effects or the random effects model. Results showed that the fixed effects model was the better fit for our dataset. We now present the findings of our analysis on board gender diversity and firm performance. Under the fixed effects model, gender diversity consistently show a negative but statistically insignificant relationships across all measures of firm performance, namely return on assets, return on equity, basic earning power, and Tobin skew. The within R-squared values, which range from 0.21 to 0.63, indicate that the model moderately explains variations in firm performance within companies over time. Moving on to the two-step generalized methods of moments, the results are consistent with the fixed effects model. The GMM confirms that board gender diversity remains a negative and insignificant determinant of firm performance. In short, increasing female representation on boards neither enhances nor diminishes profitability or market valuation among Philippine firms based on our data.
Having discussed the relationship between board gender diversity and firm performance, we now turn our attention to its relationship with firm risk. Under the fixed effects model, board gender diversity shows a positive but statistically insignificant relationship with both measures of firm risk. The Z-score, which reflects insolvency risk, and the standard deviation of return on assets, which measures earnings volatility. This indicates that changes in the proportion of women on the board do not significantly influence a firm's likelihood of financial distress or the stability of its earnings. Moving on to the two-step generalized method of moments, the results are mostly consistent with the fixed effects model. Gender diversity remains insignificant in explaining insolvency risk, but it exhibits a significant negative relationship with earnings volatility. This suggests that firms with more gender diverse boards experience more stable short-term performance, possibly due to improved oversight and risk management. In summary, while gender diversity does not appear to affect long-term solvency, it contributes to moderating earnings fluctuations. This implies that diverse boards may enhance internal governance mechanisms that help reduce operational risks among Philippine publicly listed companies.
So these findings are in line with the theoretical lenses we have outlined in this paper, starting with the social role theory, first coined by E. Lee in the 1980s, which explains how cultural expectations shape gender roles. According to Yaram and Adapa, the complementary traits of these gender roles can enhance governance and firm outcomes. Men's assertiveness supports bold strategies, while women's collaborative and ethical approach promotes stakeholder trust and reduces excessive risk taking. However, in male-dominated boards, women often serve as tokens rather than influential decision makers. This tokenism limits their impact as the risk-averse and ethical perspective are overlooked when they lack both numbers and authority.
In principle, greater gender diversity can broaden those connections and strengthen performance. In our setting, however, many women directors come from the same elite networks as men, so adding women doesn't always bring new connections or perspectives. It may be diversity in form, but not in substance. That helps explain our limited direct effects. With that context,
To sum it all up, from 2013 to 2023, the study found no significant link between board gender diversity and firm performance or risk among Philippine publicly listed companies. Female board presence showed no impact on profitability, valuation, or risk, suggesting that gender diversity alone did not drive outcomes, possibly due to factors like low female representation, family ownership, and tokenism.
second, our evidence shows that on its own, board gender diversity doesn't move short-term results for ROA, ROE, BEP, or Tobin skew, and it doesn't directly reduce insolvency risk. Even so, diversity can matter over the long run by strengthening governance, improving deliberation, and tightening oversight, benefits that don't always show up in quarterly numbers. We encourage future work to trace these longer run channels and test how meaningful inclusion, not just a headcount, supports better governance, strategy, and sustainability.
Our results suggest that while board gender diversity may not directly translate into immediate improvements in short-term performance measures such as ROA, ROE, BEP, or Tobin skew, nor to immediate reductions in total risk or insolvency risk, it may still yield long-term benefits related to enhanced governance and overall organizational effectiveness. Therefore, further research is recommended to explore these potential long-term effects and to examine how gender diversity contributes to broader governance quality, strategic decision making, and corporate sustainability over time.